started.
Okay, Bore da pawb, good morning everybody. Croeso cynnes iawn, a very warm welcome to Powys County Council's Cabinet meeting today. We have, well, first of all, I have to apologise for the lateness of our starting. We've had a series of technical difficulties which has prevented us starting on time. So for that, I'm very sorry. But hopefully now all will work correctly. There is interpretation for those who are observing the meeting remotely. On the toolbar at the bottom of the screen, you'll see interpretation. If you click on that and click on the language if you wish it to be, for those who speak in Welsh, for those who wish to have an English translation, click on English, and that will, Lynwen, our translator, will provide translation. And thank you very much for being with us, Lynwen, today to do that. We have a very short agenda, but a very important one. Only one item of substantial item, but it is an item of great substance. And I hope we have a good and full discussion today to cover it. And I'm sure we will. A number of, this meeting is entirely online. We have a number of cabinet members. Most of the cabinet is present. We also have a number of members of council who are not members of cabinet who also have expressed a wish to speak. And currently I have 4 members, councillors Gareth Jones, Bryn Davies, Elwyn Vaughan and Ali Davis, who've asked to speak. But I know there are other non-cabinet members attending. Does anybody else wish to speak on this item? I don't wish to restrict discussion at all. If any other group leader wishes to speak, please say so now. And if not, that's fine. If you're here just to listen to the discussion, that's absolutely fine, of course. Grand. Okay. Thank you. Right. Shall we move to the agenda? Do we have any apologies, first of all?
Leader, apologies from Councillors Sian Cox, Matthew Dorrance and David Selby.
And okay, thank you very much for that. Are there any, item 2, are there any declarations of interest in this item? Does it say only one substantive item? No, I don't see any. Good. Okay. Thank you very much. So let's move to the substantive item, which is the objection report on consultation on Usco, the future of Usco Bro Coranion. It's in the name of Councillor Pete Roberts, ably assisted by officers, of course. Pete.
Thank you, Leader. This is the final stage of the school's organisational code process. You'll be familiar with other ones that we've been through. There's a proposal comes to us, goes out to consultation, receive a consultation report. We review that as a school service and a report is brought to Cabinet. Then after that stage is a statutory notice published, and there is an opportunity for members of the public to respond to that notice. We then receive an objections report, and that is at the stage that we are today. The statutory notice after our last meeting was published, and there were 16 objections received from the public. The report that you have had before you over the last week is the substantive report in rejections. It breaks down each of the concerns that have been expressed by members of the public about moving forward, and gives officers responses to those, which I'm happy to put out in my name. I have with me today the Chief Exec, Emma Palmer. I don't believe she will be speaking, but the main officer, Marianne Evans, who will now take us through and will highlight any particular concerns that have been raised that we need to consider before moving forward today. Thank you, Marianne.
Bore da pawb, mae hwn yn benderfyniad pwysig iawn I Gyngor Sir Powys, a dwi'n falch iawn o fedru cyflwyno'r adroddiad bore yma. This is a very important decision for Powys County Council, very strategic decision, and I'm very pleased to be presenting it this morning. As Councillor Pete stated there, we published a statutory notice on the 8th of April for 28 days. And the wording of the proposal is to make a regulated alteration to alter the medium of instruction at Ysgol Bro Coranion from dual stream to Welsh medium. And this would be introduced on a phased basis year by year, starting with the reception in September 2025 and year 7 in September 2026. And the notice also outlined a proposed additional home to school transport alteration, so that we would be providing transport for pupils currently accessing English medium provision in years 4 and below at Ysgol Bro Cerenion and Ysgol Rhyw who wish to transfer to alternative English medium secondary providers to the closest English medium secondary provider when they transfer from year 6 to year 7. So that reflects the pupils who would firstly be affected by the change in the secondary phase. The objections, you can see in the objection report, 16 objections received, and a number of issues, and you can see our responses there. I'll just a few areas of concern around the support for pupils with additional learning needs as they transfer from an English medium education into a Welsh medium education. The council recognises that there's a lot of work still needed in terms of the support for pupils with ALN across the county. As part of the commitment in the WESP, outcome 6 of the WESP is related to ALN provision. We have already established a working group of officers who are looking at this and developing the necessary support. So that will be put in place. We will also learn from other proposals, similar proposals such as at Ysgol Bro Healthcare as well. Another area of concern is actually the availability of staff who can teach through the medium of Welsh. This isn't just an issue for Powys, this is a national issue, and the Welsh Government are already working on strategies to support this. Again, the council has also recognised this, and we've got a working group related to the WESP, also looking at how we can develop staff who can teach through the medium of Welsh. Trochi will be provided, so again, keen to point out that we will be putting in place support for pupils who will be transferring from English medium into Welsh medium provision in the form of Trochi Pontio, which is an intensive form of immersive Welsh language education. And as I've already alluded to, the transport provision that we'll be providing to those pupils who may not wish to transfer into Bro Cerenion to Welsh medium provision. I leave it at that. I'm sure there's many other questions.
Thank you very much, Marianne. First of all, is there anything you wish to add at this point, Pete? You're on mute. Pete, we can't hear you.
I'd like to hear from local members and any concerns that they have at this point before I come back, and then
Fine.
I think.
No, that's absolutely fine. Are there any other cabinet members wishing just to ask any questions about the presentation Marianne's made, or the report indeed? Is there anything needs clarification, or is it self-explanatory before we move to questions from the local member and others? Right, great. Okay, so we start with the local member, Councillor Gareth Jones, please.
Thank you, Leader, and thank you for the opportunity to speak here this morning. Can I put on record my thanks to Councillor Pete and indeed all his officers for all the hard work they've done. It's been a mountain of work over the last few months, and it has only been months in getting us to where we are today. Also, thank you to you all for listening to some of the concerns as we've gone along this process. When you consider the transport that's been addressed, I'm very grateful for. Concerns about capital investment, that's also been put into the programme and the application to Welsh Government, again grateful. Something I'm not really seeing here is when I spoke at the last Cabinet, when this the subject of the language categorisation being changed in Ysgol Bro Cerenion, is the bespoke 10-year funding package to make this work. If Cabinet approve this today, this is the start. I mean the start, the hard work would start from today. And for this to work, we do need additional monies over and above the current funding formula to make this work. We know that numbers are going to decline in the initial transition period. We have got to be seen to be attracting learners to the school. We've got to be able to get Trochi going immediately. And I would just like some reassurances from Marianne, from Pete, that there is work being done behind the scenes currently in which to support this, the transition going forward. I'll leave it there for now, please, Leader. Thank you.
No, thank you very much. And thank you for your contributions to this process as well as a local member. It's been really valuable and much appreciated. Thank you. So I've just taken hands as I came in order. Councillor Davis, if you don't mind.
Thank you.
First.
I'm not sure if Marianne wants to address Councillor Gareth's comments first.
I will.
Sorry, Pete, as Chair.
No, that's fine. Absolutely fine.
Okay. I will address. Yes, it's something that I've been raising for quite a number of years. We can't take forward Welsh medium education in the manner that we want to without that additional revenue support. We have discussions with Welsh Government. We raise this all the time. I think Councillor Pete, you're also lobbying Welsh Government as well. We will be looking at how we can support these developments over and above the delegated funding. I can't promise a 10-year package, I'm afraid, at this point in time, but it is something that we will be looking at. I strongly believe that revenue support is required alongside capital funding for the development of Welsh medium education.
Okay,
And
thank you.
as Gareth asked me to respond as well, I can inform him at the recent WLGA portfolio holders ministers meeting, I lobbied both my colleagues in other authorities and the minister the need for additional support when we are providing transformation and migration of a school from dual stream to Welsh medium, and it was met with a response that recognises there are issues there and recognises there are challenges in the current financial environment, and with the minister only having been a week, there's some more work to be done in that area. But I agree with you, there will be long-term benefits by having just Welsh medium staff there as opposed to having to offer a dual stream of staffing, but we've got to get to that. And we've got to ensure that the school has the resources available to it as it makes quite a challenging transformation.
Okay, fine. So more to be done. Let's move to Aled. Councillor Davies, please.
Diolch yn fawr iawn, Arweinydd. Thank you very much, Leader, for the opportunity to speak. Gai hefyd, diolch I Marianne a'i tîm bach yn wneud andros o lot o waith. So diolch yn fawr iawn, Marianne, am gyd o dy gwaith yn yr trio gwella ein ysgolion ar draws Powys. And the points that Gareth made now are extremely important, but they're not only important for Llanfer school, they're important for all children across Powys who should have access to Welsh medium education. So that is the main thrust of my points. Improved access to a full curriculum with all the option choices delivered in Welsh is really good news. But it's just the start. All children across Powys should have that equal access to a Welsh medium education. It should be as easy to have a Welsh medium education as it is to have an English medium education. If anything, slightly more easy, since we do happen to live in Wales. But it is really important for the council to grasp this. At the moment, the council is crawling towards equity. We need to get up and run. So I got a few assurances I wish to get from Councillor Roberts and the education team. I want to understand the impact on the surrounding schools of Llanfair Creigion. Will any dual stream schools lose their Welsh medium stream? I also want assurances around, because it's a relatively small school, that the school will have a full suite of choices going forward at post-16 as well through the medium of Welsh, and clearly that can help surrounding schools deliver choices as well. And trochi is a big issue, but it's not only in Ceredigion, it's a big issue across all other schools as well. So I want to ask whether that additional investment in trochi in Ceredigion is available for other schools across the across the whole of Powys, to be honest. And then I'm good to see that concessions have been made to help with travelling. The school transport issue is a really key aspect in delivering a sound Welsh medium education. But we have here temporary improvements, but in time they will unravel as you know, within as the current cohort moves through the school. So I know my group have been pushing. We've had a number of motions to council asking for a more flexible transport policy to enable parents to have that choice of school they wish, and it shouldn't be only that choice shouldn't be only available to parents who have the resources to transport the children themselves. And so those are the key areas I want to seek assurances around. Diolch yn fawr iawn. Thank you, Pete, and diolch yn fawr iawn, Marianne.
Okay, should we deal with those now before I bring other members in, if we can?
I'll open up. Aled, I'll take transport first. As I'm sure you know, having yourself piloted a school's transport through in the last cabinet, in fact, the one that we're operating under at the moment, you will know that taking a substantive change to the school transport policy involves consultation, engagement, consultation, and a formal statutory process. That is not the place to do that in a schools transformation school code process, which is why there are provisional measures, temporary measures being put in place at the moment. That's something that will need addressing in the future as we look at the impact and the desires on parental choice. And parental choice fits back to your very first question about other schools. We don't know what the this is on other schools in the area. This will open up a vision in the north, and it will take time to see how that settles down. So I can't give you a yes or a no to your first question about dual streams, because we live in a world of parental choice and parental options. The second comment is around trochi, and as you yourself know, the scrutiny group, with very much with my support, are looking at what is best practice in trochi, not just in the county, but across Wales. And I'm looking forward to see the response and that report, which I now guess will be delayed until after Purda, so that we can actually move forward in varying parts of the county to ensure that any parent that wants their children to move into a Welsh stream or a Welsh medium school has got the support to enable them to do so.
Good. Thank you, Peter. Thanks, Sean. Marianne, did you wish to add anything to that?
I'm just going to come in. This decision today, Cabinet supports the decision, does present a step change in how secondary education in particular is provided across the county and across Montgomeryshire in particular. Our strategy, so the Transforming Education strategy, includes a strategic aim around improving access to Welsh medium provision. That is the wording of that strategic aim. And I think that sort of reflects how we wish to take forward Welsh medium education. We do want all pupils, wherever they are across the county, to be able to access easily Welsh medium education. What we're doing today is introducing a change to the secondary provision in the form of designated Welsh medium secondary. And as Councillor Pete says, that will in time will have a knock-on effect on how the rest of the education sector looks like. But at the moment, it is the wording and strategy is to improve access And you know, that's what we aim to do with this proposal and other proposals as well.
Good. Yeah, many thanks. Diolch yn fawr. Okay, Councillor Bryn Davies, please.
Diolch yn fawr iawn arweinydd am cyfle i siarad. Dwi wedi gwneud cyfraniad ysgrifenedig. Dwi'n gobeithio bod chi wedi cael cyfle i ddarllen hwnnw. Ond i ddechrau, croesawu cynnig yma yn fawr iawn. Mae'n cam mawr ymlaen yn byd addysg yn Powys, a mae'n hynod bwysig bod o'n llwyddiannus heddiw ac yn symud ymlaen. I geisio bod yn gymarol fyr, dau beth byswn i'n licio codi. Un, wel, trafnidiaeth, mae rhaid i'r polisi trafnidiaeth sy'n dod rwan cydnabod y gwahaniaeth enfawr rhwng ysgolion ddwyieithog i ysgolion dwy ffrwd. Mae beth chwith o wahaniaeth rhwng y ddwy fath o ysgolion, a mae'n bwysig iawn bod y polisi trafnidiaeth yn cydnabod hynny. Ac hefyd, yn y cyfamser, nes bod y polisi yna yn cael ei weithredu, dyn ni'n gweld bod y cynnig yma yn deilydd portfolio yn defnyddio i bwerau dewisiol i caniatáu cludo plant sydd mewn teuluoedd sydd ddim eisiau nhw derbyn addysg ddwyieithog i ysgolion deilliant Saesnig am 4 blynedd. Oce, iawn, dwi'n deall pan bod rhaid wneud pethau fel hynny, ond hefyd, yn union yr un modd, gan bod statws ysgol Bro Cerinion rwan yn wahanol i statws yr un ysgol arall yn Rhyfaldwyn, mae'n hynod bwysig bod yn defnyddio'r pwerau diwisiol hynny i i'r plant a hynny a'i teuluoedd sy'n dymuno derbyn addysg yn yr ysgol cyfrwng Cymraeg newydd yma sy'n cael ei greu, os liciwch chi, yn Bro Cerinion. Felly, ys ni hoffi, ys ni cael sicrwydd gan deilydd portfolio bod o'n fodlon i darparu'r trafnidiaeth angenrheidiol hwnnw i ysgol Bro Cerinion lwyddo. Achos fel mae cynghorydd Gareth wedi dweud o flaen llaw, mae angen y cynhaliaeth yna, ac Aled wedi dweud mae angen cael y cyfleoedd yna i blant ar draws Gogledd Powys i fynychu'r ysgol a ni stat newydd hwn. So os gai, fel wedi dweud, mae'n achosion yn codi yn barod lle mae plant o dalgylchoedd eraill eisiau fynychu ysgol Bro Cerinion flwyddyn nesaf, ac ar hyn o bryd dydy'r polisi trafnidiaeth ddim yn cydnabod y gwahaniaeth rhwng ysgol dwy ffrwd ac ysgol dwyieithog i bawb. Mae'n bwysig bod ni'n defnyddio pwerau diwisiol fel sy'n cael ei defnyddio yn ne Powys eisoes i caniatáu y plant yna i cael trafnidiaeth i ysgol Bro Cerinion. So dyna'r pwyntiau os ni'n hoffi cael sicrhad o'i cwmpas. Diolch.
Diolch yn fawr, Bryn. And I also should have said and thanked you for the submission you made, your written submission as well, which again explained your concerns and observations on this as well. And those are, of course, have been noted, but and you've raised some of them at least now. Marianne, do you want to address those points that Bryn's made?
Yeah. Diolch Bryn. Mae pwynt 3.3 a 3.4 yn yr adroddiad yn sôn am yr union beth. Y ffaith bod y polisi cludiant ar hyn o bryd ddim yn adnabod y gwahaniaeth rhwng ysgolion Cymraeg ac ysgolion uwchradd Cymraeg ac ysgolion dwy ffrwd. Mae 3.4, y cyngor yw bod hwn yn cael ei adolygu, ac petai hynna'n digwydd, bydd rhaid cael ymgynghoriad gwahanol o ran y trefniant cludiant, polisi cludiant. Felly, jyst i ddeud, ie, mae hwnna, da ni wedi adnabod hynna yn y papur yn barod.
Ie, oce, a bydd na pwerau defnyddio dros dro i helpu'r teuluoedd sydd eisiau mynychu ysgol Cyreinion
Ie, bydd rhaid i deuluodd wneud cais i'r tîm cludiant, ac wedyn bydd rhaid gweld beth yw'r penderfyniadau yn unol â'r polisi. Ond bydd rhaid adolygu'r polisi, mae hwnna'n rhywbeth mwy dwi'n meddwl bydd rhaid i wneud cyn bod ni'n gallu symud yn 2026.
OK, diolch.
Gran, diolch yn fawr. Councillor Owen Vaughan, please.
Diolch yn fawr arweinydd, na I ddim gadw chi'n hir. Dwi'n meddwl, wrth gwrs, bod hwn yn drafodaeth pwysig iawn iawn. A wrth gwrs, bod pob newid yn heriol. Mae'n heriol i adeg fel y Cyngor Sir, mae hefyd yn heriol yn naturiol i rieni, gymunedau ac yn. Mae hynny'n gallu creu tensiynau yn anffodus yn aml iawn. Ond mae rhaid hefyd, dwi'n meddwl, cofio y cyd-destun. Y gwir ydy fod Powys tua 4 canrif ar ei hôl i sawl ardal arall y Gymru o ran datblygu a twf addysg dwyieithog. Dyna pam i ni weld estyn yn 2011 a 2019 efo adroddiadau beirniadol iawn iawn i ddweud o ran diffyg datblygiad o ran addysg Gymraeg a sgiliau dwyieithog ar hyd y lled y sir yma. Felly tydi anwybyddu adroddiadau estyn ar ei argymellion nhw. Dwi'n gwerthfawrogi fod rhai yn gwrthwynebu fel dyn ni wedi gweld heddiw. Ond mewn gwirionedd mae rhaid i hoelio sylw ar y darlun mawr. O ran rhai o'r pryderon hynny, o ran prinder athrawon, enghraifft, mae hynny yn her go iawn. Ond fel Cadeirydd Llywodraethwyr Hyddgen, dyn ni eisoes wedi trafod ac yn awyddus iawn ar ôl heddiw os di pethau'n symud ymlaen, i weld cydweithio rhwng y ddwy ysgol, i rannu adnoddau, i rannu thrawon, mi falle bod yna un ysgol efo athron neu thrawes efo sgiliau arbennig neu mewn pynciau arbennig, a ysgol arall ddim yn gallu. Wel, gadewch ni rannu yr athrawon a'r sgil set hynny, lle mae hynny'n bosib. A dwi'n meddwl bod gwneud y mwyaf a cryfder o hynny. Y pwynt arall fyddwn ni ymlygu ydy ALN. Mae wrth gwrs ALN, maes hynny efo newidiadau mawr yn digwydd ar lefel cenedlaethol ac yn y bryd, nid jyst o ran y Gymraeg yn bob agwedd ohono. Dwi yn deall fod Llywodraeth Cymru wedi penodi cydlynydd cenedlaethol yn benodol i edrych o ran y gefnogaeth o ran anghenion y Gymraeg yma agweddau. A byddwn ni'n annog felly i gydweithio efo'r swyddog a Llywodraeth Cymru yn y maes hynny, wrth gwrs, ac efo, os yn bosib, cynghorau sir eraill cyfagos. Fel y fforwm WESP sydd dyn ni, wrth gwrs, o blaid gweld ei hangu addysg dwyieithog ac yn cefnogi y cynllun yma heddiw. Ond fel sydd wedi ymlygu gen eraill, yn gweld pethau fel trochi yn rhan bwysig o'r cyfraniad hynny i leddfu pryderon didwyll sydd gan nifer yn y gymuned. Ond be allai ddweud wrth y rhieni hynny sydd falle yn amheus o'r bwriad yma heddiw. Dwi wedi gweld y Machynlleth, y rhain chi'n cofio flwyddyn camau tebyg yn digwydd. Ac mi oedd yna gyfnod heriol iawn ar y pryd, fer efo teimladau cryf. Ond nawr bod y penderfyniad wedi wneud, dyn ni wedi gweld y gymuned yn dod ynghyd yn un ac yn uno, gweld pwrpas i weld mae'r ysgol sy'n bwysig fel calon y gymuned a'n pobl ifanc, a bod angen gweld y sgiliau dwyieithog hynny fel cryfder ac nid fel problem. Ac y pêl personol gan i rai hynny falle sydd yn amheus o hyn heddiw ydy efo'r ysgol, gweithiwch efo'r awdurdod lleol, a mae yna fudiadau allanol sy'n fwy na pharod i gefnogi chi fel teuluoedd ar y rhan o'r broses ar daith hynny. Jyst gyfynwch a dwi'n siŵr allan nhw'n mynd. Diolch fawr.
Diolch yn fawr, Elwyn. Thank you very much for your very helpful contribution, and I'm sure you particularly welcome the offer of cooperation between Ysgol Brychadgan and Bro Caranian going forward. And I think this is, something actually, of course, we need to apply more widely across the county. We need to share the resources that we have. Partnership is absolutely key to making a success of our education system. So that's fantastic. Councillor Sandra Davies has a hand up. Sandra.
Diolch yn fawr cadeirydd. Bwyd a pawb. I would just like to say one or two words in relation to what has already been said. I understand Councillor Aled's concerns, and I appreciate what he was saying, especially about Wales providing Welsh medium for all our youngsters in Powys, and we should run, not crawl. But we all know that babies learn when they will learn to walk or to move. First of all, they crawl first, then they walk, then they jump, and so on. And what I'm saying is that we need to make sure that we do this in the right manner and we don't make haste and mistakes, because it's a given, isn't it? That's the way babies learn. That's why we've all learned, and we need to go slowly but get it right, because this is really affecting the future of all our young children. So that's why it's very, very important. I welcome the proposal. I think it's the right thing to do. And it's a golden opportunity for all our youngsters. Learning 2 languages is a fantastic achievement, because it doesn't only enable youngsters to learn 2 languages, but it opens the door for them to learn other languages as well. And I'm speaking parochially here. My own children can speak more than one language, or are able to communicate in more than one language. And even if they have other issues relating to their education, but their language has thrived as a result of learning Welsh and English. They can converse in French, 1 or 2 of them can, and the third has learned about 7 different languages. So it opens the doors for them. The one thing that is preventing us moving forward at pace, as Councillor Aled would like us to do, and I'm sure we would all like to move at pace, is the finance. And we do know that Welsh medium resources are far more expensive than English medium resources. They have presses, they have books, they have the ability to produce books and everything through the medium of Welsh. I mean, you can go into any supermarket or anywhere really and pick up a cheap little book that helps youngsters with their literacy and numeracy through the medium of English. You can't do that if you're picking up books through the medium of Welsh. So that's just one thing to bear in mind when we are providing provisions and sort resources for others. And mention has been made as well of ALN. Councillor Elwyn has mentioned his concerns. I agree with him. Any change is huge, and we're going through lots of changes with ALN at the moment. But just to reassure you that I am a governor of a Welsh medium school at present, and to say that that school is providing support for youngsters who have ALN. We even have a nurture area for youngsters who have other issues, and they are all taught through the medium of Welsh. And they do go back into the classrooms when it's right for them, when it's convenient for them. The important thing is they are local to the community. They can walk in with their peers, their brothers and sisters, and they can go back home and play with those youngsters when they in their own communities and speak in the language of their choice. And throughout the school, the culture and everything is through the medium of Welsh. So the youngsters who do have ALN aren't held back because of their Welsh language. It does work, it can work, it will work, but we have to make sure it's right. I welcome this, because for now, for the first time, we're offering the provision for secondary provision through the medium of Welsh, which is a continuation, which is a must, because those youngsters then can remain in Powys and have future employment in Powys, which is much needed. Diolch yn fawr. Thank you.
Thank you. Diolch yn fawr, Councillor Sandra. Excellent. Richard Church, please. Councillor Richard Church.
Yes, thank you, Leader. I think it's right for us to acknowledge, as both Councillor Aled and Councillor Elwyn have done, that Powys Council has been slow in the development of Welsh medium education. over many years. And we're now beginning to put that right. I don't think we're any longer crawling, but neither are we running, but we are gathering pace in improving the delivery of Welsh medium education. And I think that's to be welcomed. And I think if we make this decision today, that will be a very important step on that journey. I think we've already demonstrated in Powys that there is a demand from English-speaking parents for their children to have the opportunity to attend Welsh medium education. And I've seen that very clearly as a governor of Ysgol Gymraeg y Trallwm in Welshpool, where that school is rapidly growing with overwhelmingly with children from English-speaking families, and that's to be welcomed. And we made important steps on primary education in Powys, but we've ended up with a situation where as children move on into secondary education, we haven't been able to provide that continuity of Welsh medium education. And with this decision, we will now be able to do that. And I think that's very important. The supply of teachers is clearly a major issue, but the young people who we're now hopefully going to be educating in Welsh medium education at Bro Corinion are the Welsh medium teachers of the future, many of them. And you can't deliver Welsh medium, you can't supply the teachers unless we're offering the education to begin with, and we have to start somewhere in doing that. So I do welcome this move. I think it's a historic step for Powys, and I think for it to be happening, particularly this week with the Earthon at Myford, is a very welcome coincidence. So I fully endorse and accept the recommendations in the proposal.
Thank you very much, Richard, and interesting points made, particularly about the Welsh medium teachers of the future, and that's a good point. It's a very good one. Emma, our Chief Executive, please.
Thank you, Leader. I wouldn't ordinarily ask to speak on such papers, but as Councillor Richard said, and subject to council decision, I actually think this is a monumental day for the evolution of Welsh medium and the growth of bilingual learners in Powys. There's an entitlement for our learners. We need to ensure that we're providing that entitlement and not stripping people of that entitlement. I think we can say that we are now well and truly delivering the Welsh Education Strategic Plan more now in recent years than we've done in decades. Again, that's a significant step forward for this organisation. Bro Hyddgen on that phased approach now, Bro Corinion, Trochi, the primaries that we've moved along the language continuum, and much more to come. I think, though, we mustn't forget around the standards and the standards being key. We need to ensure that the standards are the very best. And so I understand the points that Councillor Gareth is making at the outset in terms of the support that we provide, and the work starts here. But I think this is a significant step forward, subject to Cabinet approval today for our learners in the north of the county. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Good. Are there any other members wishing to speak at this point? Fine, good. Okay, let's go back to the portfolio holder. Councillor Pete Roberts, would you like to sum up? Unless, Marianne, you have anything further to add?
No, nothing from me, thank you.
Okay, Pete.
Thank you, Leader. We had a very interesting discussion. Points I would pull out. We've heard how ALN is being developed in a number of Welsh medium schools around the county, and that is something that we can learn from, and I'm sure the head teacher at Corinion will welcome the opportunity to talk with his colleagues at Dyffryn Ogluo and elsewhere to help him move forward with that. We've heard about concerns about Welsh medium teachers and the volumes that we have across Wales. it is a Welsh problem. It's not a Powys problem alone. But I've already had discussions with the new director around different ways of working, different ways of training, and we will now be both through political and officer channels be lobbying for additional opportunities for Welsh medium, be that migration of skilled Welsh speakers who've only had medium training in a subject, or bringing in people from outside who have a degree from maybe 20, 30 years ago, who are fluent Welsh speakers and who want a new challenge in the closing stages of their employment history. We've also touched very briefly on concerns of parents who are English speakers and their worries that they may not be able to help their children. And that is something that we're aware of, but it is not necessarily experience that I've come across when talking to people in that position. The schools are very helpful in ensuring that their parents have the opportunity and the awareness of what needs to be done there. So all told, we've got a number of concerns expressed during the objection stage, and I think both with officers and the conversations today, we've reached a point where those concerns have been mitigated and leave us in a position where we can move forward. And with your leave, move the recommendation, assuming we make the decision to move forward. I'll come back after that with some next steps. So looking at this in total, we have 2 recommendations. They are present in the agenda bilingual. I'm afraid my Welsh language skills don't permit me the confidence to actually read them out in both languages. So I extend my apologies for that. So if we look at item 10, the recommendations, it's 1, to consider the objection report in Appendix B in respect to the proposal to change the degree of Ysgol Bro Corinion, and 2, to approve the proposal to make a regulated alteration to alter the medium of instruction at Ysgol Bro Corinion from dual stream to Welsh medium, with this to be introduced on a phase basis year by year, starting with reception in September 2025 and year 7 in September 2026. So I'm happy to move that at Cabinet today.
Thank you very much. Do I have a seconder for that proposal? Those 2 proposals. Councillor Sandra Davies has seconded. Good, okay, let's move to the vote. Will all those in favour of the recommendations please show? I think I'm fairly certain that is unanimous. Thank you very much indeed. Good, an important and historic decision we've just made. And just before I bring Pete back in, I'd just like to say from my position as chair today, it is historic in the sense that the point that Councillor Davies made about the need for pace in this issue is really important. And he's absolutely right. Pace has been absent in the past. I think now we are moving as fast as the system allows us to on this and indeed other transformation issues. That there is quite properly a staged process when you want to make these types of changes, because they are very significant and have significant impacts on local communities. And I just think it's quite right that this is all done in a very methodical and objective way. You can see from the length of the report today, and it's just at this stage, every stage has a report of similar lengths. When you're making these sorts of changes, how much work goes into preparing these reports for us as members to consider. And I have to thank the officers sincerely for the amount of work and the diligence which they have displayed on this and many other transformation issues. So it can at times seem a slow process, but I think it is correctly methodical, and I'm glad we're doing it in exactly the right way. So many thanks to all involved. I see that the local member has his hand up. Gareth, would you like to make a comment?
Thank you, Leader, for allowing me to come back.
Not at all.
As Chief Exec said, it's a monumental decision that the Cabinet have just made for Powys. It's also a monumental decision for the people of Llanfair and the catchment area as well. I've not hidden my views on this, and I really welcome this decision, and I thank the Cabinet for making the decision that they just have. But it's with a caveat that we've got to start from today with communication. I feel that communication has been poor in this process, and can I urge the team, let's provide objective information about the positives of bilingual education. Let's get Trochi started immediately. You currently have a governing body within Ysgol Bro Caerenion who are willing to work with you, but if those requests that I made earlier aren't forthcoming and at pace, then I think that positivity will be diluted. So to conclude, thank you for your decision today. But we start today. If those of us who are lucky to be at the Urdd Eisteddfod Sunday afternoon and saw some 400 pupils on stage, if ever there was a reason that I felt that I was made the right decision in going along this, seeing those young children on that stage was that confirmation. So yeah, let's start today and let's make this work and convince those who have the doubts that this is the right way forward. Diolch yn fawr. Thank you.
Diolch yn fawr, Gareth. Good, excellent. Councillor Pete Roberts, to wrap it up, please.
Yeah, thank you, Leader. This is, it's been said, is a momentous day. It is the culmination of 30 odd years of work for a number of campaigners in this area. And I just want to pay tribute to their efforts, hard work to keep this alive. We as a Cabinet are quite rightly proud to be taking this decision, but it is not without their hard work, perseverance, that we would be here today. But I also want to recognise the contribution of those who are more cautious about this decision. Your input into the consultation process in particular has led to changes. It has strengthened the position that we're in, and it means we have a position in which the community can move forward together, I hope, looking to the future. And the future is what I want to talk about now. Working to develop a project team for this, drawing on all of the strengths within the council to work with the school to make these changes happen. But it's not just the school, it's the wider community. And I'm pleased to say that I myself and the director are at the Urdd today. I will be here tomorrow and on Thursday as well. And we will be looking to work with the many organisations that are here to see how they can contribute, how they can support you, Councillor Gareth, your chair, your governing body, and the wider community to move forward with this as an exemplar of what is possible in other parts of Powys. And I say other parts of Powys because this is just the second, the 3 parts of the secondary West proposals. And once Purda is out the way, I'm hopeful that we will be moving forward at pace with the final stage of that piece of work. But for now, I thank everyone who's contributed. I thank Councillor Gareth for the way that he has represented his communities, and brought what could be a very, very tricky proposal for the community forward with dignity and with reaching a conclusion that everyone can move forward with. So thank you, Gareth, contributed, and thank you for the monumental piece of work done to get us to this, where we can make this announcement today, this week. Thank you.
Excellent. Right. Diolch yn fawr. Thank you one and all. I think that is the last item on our agenda. There's nothing further to discuss this morning. And I would like to thank all those who've contributed to this discussion for the very respectful and responsible way in which it's been conducted. It's been really interesting, and I think we've come to a very good and well-reasoned decision. And now it's up to us to make it a success, to work with the school to make it so. So thank you one and all. I think if there's nothing else on the agenda, Steve, is that right?
No, that's it now, Leader. Thank you.
So I call the meeting to a close, and thank all those who have been observing our deliberations as well for your attendance. So thank you very much, one and all. Bye for now.